Croissants! The quintessential French pastry that has captured the hearts and taste buds of people all around the world. They are a breakfast treat. Buttery, flaky, and delicious. Perfect with a cup of coffee or tea, they bring a touch of Parisian elegance to your morning routine. Imagine biting into a warm croissant. The crispy layers shatter, revealing a soft, buttery interior. Each bite is a symphony of textures and flavors. The buttery aroma fills the air, transporting you to a quaint Parisian bakery. It's an experience that tantalizes all your senses. Now you can make them at home. Yes, you heard that right. You don't need to travel to Paris to enjoy these delightful pastries. It's easier than you think. With a few simple ingredients and some patience, you can create croissants that rival those from the best bakeries. With this guide, you'll be a croissant pro in no time. We'll walk you through each step from mixing the dough to shaping and baking. Get ready for a fun baking adventure. Let's make some croissants. First, gather your ingredients: flour, butter, yeast, sugar, and salt. These simple components come together to create something magical. Start by mixing the flour, yeast, sugar, and salt in a large bowl. Add water and mix until a dough forms. Knead the dough until it's smooth and elastic. Next, roll out the dough and spread a generous layer of butter over it. This is what gives croissants their signature flakiness. Fold the dough over the butter and roll it out again. Repeat this process several times to create those beautiful flaky layers. Cut the dough into triangles and roll them up into croissant shapes. Place them on a baking sheet and let them rise until they've doubled in size. Brush the croissants with an egg wash to give them a beautiful golden color. Then, bake them in a preheated oven until they're puffed and golden brown. As they bake, your kitchen will be filled with the irresistible aroma of fresh croissants. It's a smell that will make your mouth water. Once they're done, take them out of the oven and let them cool on a rack. The hardest part is waiting for them to cool before you can dig in. Finally, break open a croissant and marvel at the layers. Take a bite and enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's nothing quite like a homemade croissant. So why not bring a taste of Paris to your home? With this guide, you can enjoy fresh, homemade croissants anytime you want. Bon appétit! Before we start, let's gather our ingredients. You will need flour, yeast, sugar, salt, milk, butter, and an egg for brushing. Make sure your yeast is fresh. We will need some tools too. A rolling pin is essential for this recipe. You will also need plastic wrap and a sharp knife. Lastly, don't forget your oven. First, we make the dough. It is simple. Warm the milk slightly. The milk should be just warm to the touch, not hot. This step is crucial because if the milk is too hot, it can kill the yeast, and if it's too cold, the yeast won't activate properly. It should not be hot. Aim for a temperature around 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You can use a thermometer to check or simply dip your finger in to feel if it's lukewarm. Add the yeast and sugar. The sugar acts as food for the yeast, helping it to activate and grow. Stir gently to combine. Let it sit for a few minutes. This resting period allows the yeast to activate. You'll know it's ready when you see bubbles forming on the surface. The yeast will be bubbly. This foam indicates that the yeast is alive and active, ready to work its magic in the dough. Now add the flour and salt to a bowl. The flour provides the structure for the dough, while the salt adds flavor and helps to control the yeast's activity. Make a well in the center. This well will hold the liquid ingredients, making it easier to mix everything together. Pour in the yeast mixture. The liquid will start to hydrate the flour, beginning the process of forming the dough. Mix until it forms a dough. Use a wooden spoon or your hands to combine the ingredients. The dough will be sticky at first, but it will come together as you mix. Knead the dough for a few minutes. Kneading develops the gluten, which gives the dough its elasticity and strength. Push the dough away from you with the heel of your hand, then fold it back over itself and repeat. The dough should be smooth and elastic. This texture indicates that the gluten has developed properly and the dough is ready for the next step in your recipe. If the dough is still sticky, sprinkle a little more flour and continue kneading until it reaches the right consistency. Next, we make the butter block. This is what makes croissants flaky. Take cold butter and shape it into a square. Use parchment paper to help you. Place the butter block in the fridge. It needs to be cold for the next step. Section 5. The art of lamination, building flaky layers. In this section, we will delve into the intricate process of creating those beautiful flaky layers that make pastries like croissants and puff pastries so irresistible. The technique we are about to explore is called lamination, and it involves a series of precise steps to ensure the perfect texture and flakiness. Now, the fun part. Roll out the dough into a rectangle. Make sure your surface is well floured to prevent sticking. The dough should be rolled out evenly to ensure consistent layers. This step is crucial as it sets the foundation for the lamination process. Take your time to get it right. Place the cold butter block in the center. The butter should be chilled but pliable, not too hard or too soft. This is important because the butter needs to stay in distinct layers within the dough. If it melts too quickly, it will blend into the dough and you won't get those beautiful flaky layers. Fold the dough over the butter, like an envelope. This step is known as the first fold or the book fold. Make sure the edges are sealed properly to keep the butter enclosed. This will help in creating distinct layers as we continue to roll and fold the dough. Roll out the dough again. This time you want to be gentle yet firm, ensuring that the butter is evenly distributed within the dough. The goal is to elongate the dough without tearing it. If the dough resists, let it rest for a few minutes before continuing. This will relax the gluten and make it easier to roll out. Fold it like an envelope again. This is the second fold, and it's crucial for building those layers. Each fold multiplies the number of layers, creating a more intricate structure within the dough. Be precise with your folds to ensure even layering. Repeat this process a few times. Typically, you will need to do this at least 3 to 4 times, depending on the recipe. Each repetition adds more layers, enhancing the flakiness of the final product. Patience is key here. Rushing through the steps can compromise the quality of the layers. This creates layers in the dough. As you can see, the dough now has multiple layers of butter and dough, which will expand and separate during baking. This is what gives pastries their characteristic flaky texture. The more layers you have, the flakier the pastry will be. These layers will become flaky when baked. The heat of the oven causes the water in the butter to evaporate, creating steam that puffs up the layers. This results in a light, airy and flaky texture that is simply delightful. Enjoy the process and the delicious results. Section 6. Shaping your crescents to perfection. Let the dough rest in the fridge. Now, roll it out one last time into a large triangle. Cut the dough into long triangles. Starting at the wide end, roll each triangle into a crescent shape. Arrange them on a baking sheet. Section 7. The patience of proofing and the joy of baking. Cover the croissants with a clean towel. Let them rise in a warm place for about an hour. They will become puffy. Preheat your oven. Brush the croissants with egg wash. This will give them a beautiful golden color. Bake until they are golden brown and flaky. Section 8. Fresh from the oven, serving your croissants. Your croissants are ready. The smell will fill your kitchen. Let them cool slightly before serving. You can enjoy them plain or add your favorite toppings. Section 9. Embrace the challenge. Baking your own croissants. Making croissants takes time and patience, but the results are worth it. The first bite into a homemade croissant is pure joy. So why not try making them at home? You can do it.